Hello and welcome to another ranking video. I thought you might like to see this and how I rank Adept Cosmetics palettes, since now they are coming out, or they did come out already, with the Flying Fiddles palette. Spoiler alert, I will not get the Flying Fiddles. The color story, not for me. And since every time when I wear a lip like this, I get asked in the comments what I'm wearing, I now will include the lippy of the video, because for most times, so just so you get a bit of an insight from me, I make YouTube aside my full-time job and aside a full-time university thing. So usually I sit down on a Saturday and I film 3 to 4 to 5 different videos, and I do change the lip so that I give the appearance of someone who is filming with different looks all the time. I don't know if this is working. I probably understand that you say, what the fuck you're talking about? We know you film like 1,000 videos a day because your makeup's always the same. But I like to change up the lip. So when you ask me then, like 2 weeks later, what are you wearing? I'm like, I don't know, was it the 3rd video that day? The 5th? I have no clue. So, the lipstick of today, or the lip gloss, actually, is the Isamaya Beauty Lip Lac in the shade Black Veil today. I have 6 different Adept Cosmetics palettes, so at number 6, it's Minka. And Minka is actually the first palette that I ever tried from the brand, because whenever I saw these swatches, I was like, let me lick them and smear them all over my face and the forbidden areas. But the thing is, you know, I always like to talk about your typical indie flaky shades. And this is exactly what this is, but on crack. And not the good crack, like, not that there is good crack, but the opposite bad crack. Does it make sense? These are too flaky for what they are. These are a level of flaky that they kind of similar to the Pat McGrath Blitz, no, not Blitz Flame, the Blitz Crimson shade from Mothership 11, that it flakes off the lid when you over apply it. That's my biggest downside of this palette. Other than that, I love this Metal collection. That's why I'm holding on to it, because this is such a great collection of true metal looking shades. I love it. The two matte shades here, I don't really care. They're good, but I wish it would be a black maybe and a white here in this palette. That would have been better. And this Linda and Selena shade, this is actually the formulation of Adept Cosmetics that I prefer over these flicks. At number 5, we have one of the newer ones, and this is the Samarian Sunset palette. This is Star Trek inspired, and this is basically, although it wants to look like something else, it's a monochromatic orange palette. Even though you have these 3 shades with the greens and the beigey cocky things, everything kind of turns into orange. So the looks that I did so far with this palette all had a somewhat orange fire shift, which is pretty, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to have that all the time. I have to admit though, I am not a Star Trek watcher. I never watched it, so I'm not sure if Samarian Sunset and this orange shift going on here is completely intentional and matching the theme. I can imagine that it does match the theme, so if you're a Star Trek watcher, let me know down below if this actually is very accurate. From the reviews that I've seen, a lot of people were like, this is not accurate at all. Some were like, this is accurate. And then there's the third party who is like, why can you use these words without getting sued? If we are talking about quality, the 2 rows of shimmers, stunning. This shade, Mauve, oh my god. Beautiful. It's more flaky than the others in the palette, but it's a good flaky. You know, it's not so flaky as in Minka, but the mattes is where it gets really bad, because I think these mattes are not good. They are really bad, in my opinion. They do go on patchy, they kind of mush into one shade, and it's just not looking cute. At number 4, we have the Arrow inspired palette. That is called the inspired palette because I think she was not allowed to use the name Arrow. And this is again the same layout as Samarian Sunset. And not only is it again the same layout, this was the first palette from Adept Cosmetics that had this layout with 10 shades of the multi-chromes and one row with 5 shades of mattes. I enjoy this palette much more than the other two, but it's clearly not my favorite because of the green vibe. But this has so much variation going on. You know, you have greens that shift kind of yellow and blue, turning to purples and some blues and pinks over here. Variation-wise, stunning. Quality-wise, outstandingly good. Again, the mattes down here, better than Samarian Sunset. But it's like there's still work to do with the mattes. My main thing about this color story is probably that this row of mattes is just too cocky shit looking like for me. Even though with the greens you can get pretty looks, but as soon as you add a yellow or this over here, it just gets really weird. At number 3, we have Plain Jane Remastered. And this is the second palette that I actually tried from Adept Cosmetics. And oh boy, this was the moment where I was like, okay, this is a brand I actually want to try more, because after Minka, because Minka tempted me for so long on social media that when I finally got it, I was very, very disappointed. And a lot of people were like, try the Plain Jane, because at that point, the big 15 pans that I just showed you just weren't available yet. And this changed my opinion. The Plain Jane Remastered is such a beautiful companion palette in my collection. I can't count how many times I dipped into these shades, and you can't even see that I used them so often. This is a very thin but very impactful formula. They go on so awesome, and you know what? I could totally do multiple looks with this and maybe a Viseart matte palette, and I'd be good for weeks. This is so stunning. Even though you have like this AC14, 14, 111. Oh, it's not 14, it's ACI4, ACI11, and ACI6. Okay, now I get this. These three look quite similar in the pan because of their pinkness, but they are very different on the lids. I love them. And I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of missing this format from Adept Cosmetics. I don't know, I'm a sucker for those shape palettes. So number 2 is actually the newest one to my collection, and that is Element 115. First of all, yes, this might be a bit biased because I love blue eyeshadow. Blues and reds, it's completely me. This, when we're just talking about the shimmers, has so much variation going on, even though it's very monochromatic, but the shifts and the different textures and the different type of holos that is even in here makes them very, very different looking. Do not get too excited for those. I'm honest with you, they turn into one color actually as soon as you apply them. I really enjoy them, and this one, Gimbal Video, this golden one, is such a surprise shade in this palette. I wasn't expecting that. But what makes this, I mean, the quality of the shimmer is just as good as an Inspired and a Samarian Sunset. That's nothing we should discuss here. But besides the color story, what makes this palette better than Inspired and better than Samarian Sunset is the mattes. Whatever is going on here, these are the best. They are so easy to blend. They are very pigmented, don't get me wrong, but they blend like a dream. They blend into each other with no effort. I had the easiest times with these mattes. I love it. The only thing I should tell you, if this is something you care about, they are staining. And I'm not talking just the mattes. The shimmers are staining too. When I removed the looks that I've created with this palette so far, I looked like I was beaten up. I mean, the stain is gone the next day, so I don't really care for that. But if this is something that is important to you, beware, these stain a lot. And at number 1, and I think I already said it in my palette ranking last year, the Seahorse palette. This is just it. This is just a 15-pan palette with no mattes. You only have the multi and duochromes from Adept Cosmetics, and they're all pastel. And you'll be like, huh? You hate pastels? Yes, I do hate matte pastels, but not these. These are, first of all, not matte, they're all chromy. They are so pretty, and just from looking at this, I want to use this palette for a whole week. I want to do like a 5 looks 1 palette thing. I mean, of course, you have to add something else. That's probably logical. I need some mattes, but if you like these type of looks that are more easy, but you want to have a twist to it, get yourself this palette. It's quite expensive though, not gonna lie. I think I paid 150. I think it's 150 euro on Monolith Shop. It's probably the same price on Adept website, not too sure about that. But this plus your bronzer, you will have beautiful, different looking looks every single day, although you're just using your bronzer in the crease and this on the lid. I love this palette. If there is one Adept Cosmetics palette that I recommend that you have to buy if you want to try the brand, it's this one. So as I said, I will not be getting the flying fills, but I'm happy to see the looks and the reviews from other creators, and I'm very, very excited what Adept Cosmetics is bringing us for 2024. I personally am hoping for a palette with grays, white and black mattes and matching multi-chromes. A multi-chrome with a black base and red going on. Red chromes, silver chromes, white chromes, transparent, translucent chromes. This is what I want to have from Adept Cosmetics, and I hope they will deliver something like that this year. So what is your favorite Adept Cosmetics palette? Let me know down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you see more of the fun videos. And if you want to see, and it doesn't matter if it's a Seahorse palette or any other of those, if you want to see a video like the Xenon one that I just did, where I post 3, 4 or 5 looks in one video with one certain palette, let me know down below which one you want to see first. I have so many questions already for palettes to do this with that I just can't wait to start producing looks. So thank you, let me know your thoughts, and I hope you can see you in the next one.